Hello and welcome everyone to the first ever tactics video here on the Call to Foot Manager. I'm going to bring into you a 4-2-3-1 that I've created on the new patch that should do pretty well for you. Now I know a lot of people do like to use a 4-2-3-1 because it's the closest thing that they can relate to from real life. Yet it seems to be a formation that a lot of people struggle to get the best out of within the match engine. So hopefully this is one for you to try out. It doesn't use any set piece exploit or anything like that. It's just a standard 4-2-3-1 based a little bit on what I would ask players to do in real life and then fitting it to match the match engine. I've played through a Nottingham Forest save myself. I am currently at this point here in the save. We are 4 seasons in. We've already managed to win the Premier League and the Champions League within the 4 seasons with a decent team. We've got to be creative with our transfers. You've definitely always got to recruit well. I don't think it matters too much the team that you're playing as because we've done it as a potential favourite in the Championship. And then in our second season, our first season as an underdog, we managed to finish in the top 4 and get into Champions League football, winning the Champions League in our 3rd season after that. So it's worked out pretty well for us, actually. But this is it here. I've got to be honest, it does do a very good job at destroying opposition back fours and midfields in this up-to-date match engine that we have here in the February release. So it's what it really relies on is the striker and number 10 to work with each other. And what's important for me is I like to have my playmaker here be left-footed and the striker be right-footed. Or you could roll reverse that and have a right foot and left-footed. But I like to have them opposite. And it's just the angles that it creates the chances at. So he might drift off to the left and play a through ball to the striker's then right foot who goes through and scores. And yeah, it just plays some great football. It dominates very well. And it, not in terms of just raw possession, it does keep the ball okay, but it's more about it controls the right areas of the pitch. It can be potentially a little bit leaky defensively, and that's why I do have a slightly more defensive version of it, which is this one here. But all in all, it's a really solid 4-2-3-1. I think people are always looking out for this formation. I always see people asking Nat for a 4-2-3-1. I'm going to quickly show you some of the results that we had, and we're going to come back and finish up with all the instructions, player instructions, as we are. So in terms of results, first season in the Championship with Forest, we got 895 points. That was us testing a lot though as well. Back then, if I'm being honest, like we were tweaking a lot during this season, trying to see what was working. We ended up on 95 points, had a pretty good season and got promoted. Our second season, first season in the Premier League, we managed to finish 3rd on 82 points and had a really good season overall. So a pretty big jump. That's quite difficult to do. I think you can get promoted back to back and get in the top 4, but to get into the top 4 with 82 points, it's not like we snuck in on 67 or 70. On 82 is a pretty decent number for your first season. As you can see, 86 goals scored, only 50 against. So 3rd season, we finished on 83 points, only 1 point more, but finished 2nd. But more importantly, we won the FA Cup and the Champions League in our 3rd season, which was just sensational. So you can see we managed to recruit very well. We've got a pretty decent team at this point, but it's something that you can easily do yourself in your save. We managed to win the FA Cup and the Champions League, and Nottingham Forest were back as the most dominant team in Europe once again. And then finally, this current season here, we won every single trophy I think we went for, except for the Champions League this season. But we managed to win the Premier League this time on 105 points. We won all the trophies, did a sensational job, and only lost 1 game the whole season. So nearly an undefeated season, 4 seasons in with a team from the Championship. So you can see the tactics potential there is very, very good. It really can overperform for you and play some exquisite football, if I'm being honest. The wingers do make some great movements. They make movements where the winger might get it, release the ball to the playmaker, then go back on the outside of the back line and get the back ball through, go through and score. Sometimes he'll attack the half space himself, dribble inside and look to go through and score. I've seen the left winger score quite a few good goals cutting in. One potential change you could make is if you're finding you're struggling a little bit, is you can change him to a winger attack, because then what he'll do is he'll look to run down the line slightly more, but he'll still then cut inside if he's right-footed, so that'll work out well for you there. These two work really well. What the strikers do is the striker will occupy the central defenders, he'll pull off a little bit, and drag the attention of one of the centre-backs, and while he does that, we get the ball through, and this player then is either 1v1, or he's completely through on goal, or one of these two gets through on goal. So it's a really good way of just dragging players all over the place, and playing some really good football that I think that people enjoy going forwards. And defensively, it's just a high-press tactic. It's just a very high-press tactic. We don't use tight marking, we have standard defensive width. Everything else is pretty much standard for a 4-2-3-1. It's top-heavy, so you're going to play the wingers in the forward positions. You're going to have to press high a little bit. So defensively, there isn't too much thought into real life. It's more about just trying to create the best results possible. Whereas in possession, trying to be a little more creative like what we do. I seem to have settled on this a little bit myself personally, with an underlap on one side, overlap the other, and generally something like this. And transition, not really too much, just counter, roll it out. You can put counter press on if you want. I personally haven't. I found it just works a lot better and looks a lot more realistic with counter press unticked. Just a quick run through of the player instructions. The goalkeeper has nothing. Fullbacks have nothing. Centre-backs have nothing. Central fielders with a tackle harder for our deep line playmaker. And then box-to-box fielder has take more risks, dribble more, get further forward within the channels. The wingers have take more risks, or the right winger at least, the inverted winger support has take more risks, get further forward, run from position, stay wider, tackle harder, mark tighter. Left winger has run from position, tackle harder, mark tighter. Number 10 has run from position within the channels, tackle harder, mark tighter. Advanced forward has tackle harder and mark tighter. And for any additional info on the tactic and where to download it, I'm going to direct you over to Nap's thread on the Sports Interactive forums. He's got a tweaked version of this that he's going to release that's going to be from the both of us, I guess. And any extra info on it testing and images and screenshots and videos of the tactic are all going to come from him and his stuff. It's just better that way for us to do it with what I currently do. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this short video just on the tactic on a 4-2-3-1 that you're going to love on this patch, I think, especially if you've got a good team that can do it. Highly recommend left footer, right footer. If you've got the choice and you're able to choose, definitely do that. Player profile, think ideal scenario, you're thinking of somebody like a Yusuf Demir and Alexander Isaac were the two players that I had, or Victor Osimhen, somebody like that. Those are the type of players, if you're at the top end of football, that you're looking for. And if you aren't playing at that high level, then you're looking for players that are similar equivalents for your level. So if you're playing in a lower league, just take the attributes down a few notches, and that's sort of what you're looking at there. But apart from that, everything else should be pretty self-explanatory for the kind of players that you're looking for. And yeah, there's a gift from me, early Christmas present or late Christmas present, depending on how you look at it. A 4-2-3-1 that works on the new patch. It should work on the new patch with your team. It should be pretty much plug and play. If you do find yourself doing a similar save to me where you get promoted and you're an underdog team, do feel free to go to the defensive version in certain games. What it does, it seems to just create a lot more dead time in games where nothing happens, and it's really good for those close games against the big sides. I think we switched to this against Chelsea in a game. We ended up winning like 3 or 4-0. So I definitely recommend from time to time potentially doing that if you find like you're struggling. Apart from that, this should be pretty good. And I'll also put this tactic up as well. If you need to get a goal, if you need to get a goal to draw or from drawing to win, this tactic is very good to go to. They're all very similar in your playing philosophy here. And just so you can see the corners are just pretty much bog standard. It's something that I came up with, with the roles that are offered. It's pretty bog standard about where the players are. The only difference is we have it on mix. There's no near post even for it. It's just on mix. We do score from some as well. Sometimes not so much. If your attacking midfielder happens to take it, it seems to do better then. So if you've got a good left-footed number 10 who's brilliant in your team and he can take corners, that's the ideal scenario there. But that is going to do it. Let me know what you think about this type of video on the channel. I've got to be careful what exactly I release, and I've been very careful with this one. There's nothing here that you couldn't have done yourself or that can't be found out already publicly with the game. So, yes, with what I do for a living, I've just got to be careful a little bit about what exactly I post, so I can't bring you everything all the time the way that other creators and other content creators do, which they can. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave me any feedback in the comment section or over in that thread on the Sports Interactive forums. I'm calling this tactic Forest Temple, pretty obviously a little bit because of Nottingham Forest, but also Forest Temple is a nod to the Zelda game, the Ocarina of Time to be specific, and yeah, lots of my tactics, if I create any more going forwards, they'll all have references probably to either Zelda or other games and that kind of stuff. But that is going to do it. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.